The Denver Broncos finally witnessed a long-awaited breakthrough from veteran tight end Evan Engram in Week 13, and the timing could not have been more critical. After a stretch of 13 games marked by inconsistent production and battles with injuries, Engram showcased the skill set that Denver envisioned when they signed him to a 2-year, $23 million contract during the offseason. Facing the Washington Commanders on Sunday night, Engram set personal season highs with 9 targets, 6 receptions, and 79 receiving yards, leading all Broncos pass catchers and demonstrating the kind of dynamic impact that the team hoped for when they brought him on board. The highlight of his night came on the Broncos' decisive final drive, when a short Bo Nix pass turned into a 41-yard rumble deep into Washington territory, setting the stage for running back R.J. Harvey to score the game-winning touchdown in a thrilling 27-26 overtime victory. It was the kind of performance that not only justified Engram's role, but also signaled a potential shift in Denver's offensive balance as the season moves forward. Head coach Sean Payton addressed Engram's resurgence during a media session on Wednesday, emphasizing the nuanced nature of his offense and the challenges of projecting production for any single player in a spread-the-wealth system. In some weeks, it works out, some weeks it doesn't, Payton said, reflecting on Engram's performance. It's not as easy as saying, there are going to be certain coverages. We got a great coverage look and empty the other night for his isolation route. It's about looking at the game plan, there are certain throws that have certain guys' names on them. It doesn't necessarily mean it always goes to them. He's one of the guys that we want to have X amount of targets to. I think the thing he does really well is run and run after the catch. Payton's comments underscore the intentional flexibility of his offensive approach, where targets are dictated not by hierarchy, but by matchup, defensive alignment, and the flow of the game. Engram's breakout was as much a product of his skill as it was of a strategic opportunity, highlighting the intricate chess match between coaching, quarterback decision-making, and player execution. This Week 13 performance reflects what Denver originally envisioned from their so-called joker tight end. Injuries and the evolving pecking order had delayed the payoff, but Engram's effort against the Commanders provided a glimpse of the high ceiling that prompted the organization to invest heavily in him during free agency. The Broncos, known for rotating playmakers depending on matchup and defensive tendencies, saw Engram take on a starring role alongside rookie wideout Pat Bryant, who tallied 7 targets, 3 receptions, and 42 receiving yards. The collaborative success of these players highlights the strategic depth of Denver's offense, which thrives on unpredictability and the ability to exploit defensive weaknesses week to week. Engram's contribution in Week 13 was emblematic of a system that rewards adaptability and execution, and his success is likely to inform game planning moving into Week 14 against the Las Vegas Raiders. The matchup against Las Vegas represents a prime opportunity for Engram to sustain his breakout form. The Raiders enter the week ranked 26th in points allowed per game, while sitting 17th in both passing yards and passing touchdowns allowed per game. Such a defensive profile provides a favorable environment for Denver to leverage Engram's skill set, particularly in isolation and short to intermediate routes, where he can maximize yards after catch. The coaching staff strategy will likely involve tailoring certain plays to his strengths, while maintaining the overall unpredictability that defines Payton's offense. Courtland Sutton and Troy Franklin remain key components of the passing game, but Engram's recent performance illustrates that the Broncos are capable of distributing the ball in a balanced manner while also giving specific players the opportunity to exploit matchups and create momentum-shifting plays. Sutton, reflecting on Engram and the tight end's contributions, expressed enthusiasm for the versatility they bring to the offense. I think that those guys going out and doing what they did this past game allows us to be able to continue to open our offense up and allows other guys to be successful, because now you can't say, well, this guy doesn't do this and this guy doesn't do that. No, these guys are just as pivotal pieces in this offense as everybody else, Sutton said. I was excited to see those guys have the success that they had. I know there's a lot more on the table for them and the rest of the offense. Engram's performance not only validated the investment in him, but also created cascading benefits for other players, allowing the Broncos to operate with more unpredictability and strategic depth, which is essential in a league where defensive coordinators meticulously game plan against the tendencies of every offensive player. Payton's comments also touched on the broader challenge of consistently featuring one player over another, using wide receiver Marvin Mims as a case study. Mims held to 2 receptions for 8 yards with a 9-yard carry in Week 13, illustrates the difficulty of creating consistency for any individual in a fluid passing scheme. We finished the play action last night. Maybe there's 10 plays, and then we just go through those 10 and then put a jersey number next to each one if the primary is open and the drop back, Payton explained. Maybe you tweak one because we need it. I think that's really important. Are we getting the ball in our guys' hands? That doesn't guarantee it, but you do have to give some thought as to the personnel and who do we think is primary. Now, sometimes it's easy if it's a sweep or a handoff, but other times in the passing game, it can be a little bit more challenging. We didn't know Evan was going to catch that 40-yard completion. We're at the line, and Bo has a menu. He gets us to the right play, and then bam, it's Evan's play. If they play a different coverage, it might be Sutton's play. Part of that is the menu of what he's getting to. It was a fantastic route, but more impressive was just the speed. I think it was like 3 or 4 completions and then the run. What stands out in Payton's explanation is the blend of premeditation and spontaneity that defines modern NFL offense. The Broncos' scheme relies on a carefully constructed menu of plays that can pivot in real time based on defensive alignment, coverage adjustments, and quarterback reads. Ingram's breakout is a testament to both his individual talent and the effectiveness of a system that encourages decision-making at multiple levels. Bo Nix's ability to select the optimal play and execute under pressure allowed Ingram to shine, but it also reflects a broader organizational philosophy that prizes versatility, speed, and situational awareness over rigid positional hierarchies. Each target and reception is part of a larger mosaic that requires both preparation and instantaneous adaptation, and Ingram's performance demonstrated the synergy between player skill and tactical planning. Looking ahead, the Broncos appear positioned to capitalize on the momentum created by Ingram's Week 13 breakout. His performance injects energy into the locker room and signals to the coaching staff that the tight end position can serve as a reliable weapon in critical situations. As the team approaches Week 14 and the matchup against the Raiders, strategic adjustments will likely involve maximizing Ingram's opportunities while continuing to balance targets among Sutton, Franklin, Bryant, and other contributors. Payton's offense, with its emphasis on unpredictability and matchup exploitation, provides the ideal environment for Ingram to continue emerging as a dynamic threat. The combination of his route-running ability, yards after catch potential, and growing confidence positions him to play a pivotal role in Denver's offensive game plan moving forward. Ultimately, Ingram's performance against Washington represents more than just a statistical milestone. It embodies the intersection of talent, preparation, and opportunity in a fluid offensive system. Payton's thoughtful approach to target distribution, Bo Nix's real-time decision-making, and Ingram's execution all converge to produce a breakout moment that could define the Broncos' offensive identity in the weeks to come. If Ingram can sustain this level of play, he will not only validate the team's offseason investment, but also reshape defensive strategies against Denver, forcing opponents to account for his presence in critical situations. In a league where timing, matchups, and adaptability define success, Ingram's Week 13 performance offers a compelling blueprint for how the Broncos intend to leverage all of their offensive assets to compete at the highest level as the season approaches its crucial stages. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk Broncos. And don't forget to hit the bell to get all the latest NFL updates. The atmosphere around the Broncos locker room has reportedly reached a boiling point, and insiders are whispering about a dramatic confrontation that could reshape the team's dynamics entirely. According to circulating reports, the team's head coach, Sean Payton, has allegedly severed ties with one of his starting players following a heated altercation that left both sides visibly shaken. Eyewitnesses inside the facility are hinting that this was not just a typical disagreement over strategy or playing time, but something far more personal, a clash that has seemingly crossed lines that neither the player nor the coach expected to approach. The rumors suggest that Peyton, known for his sharp mind and sometimes fiery temperament, reached a breaking point after repeated tensions with this particular starter, tensions that had apparently been simmering for weeks, if not months. Sources close to the team claim that during what was described as a volatile meeting, voices were raised, words were exchanged with intensity, and at one point, the disagreement escalated to the point where physical proximity alone was tense enough to make staff members uneasy. Whispers around the league suggest that this incident was caught on security cameras, though the footage has not been publicly released, fueling even more speculation about what exactly triggered such a drastic decision from a coach who usually maintains tight control over his roster. While the identity of the player has not been officially confirmed, speculation among fans and analysts has run rampant, with several names surfacing based on insider hints and past behavior patterns. Theories circulating suggest that this player had a history of clashing with authority figures, though he has also been recognized for exceptional talent on the field, which makes this alleged fallout even more shocking. Multiple unnamed sources are suggesting that Peyton, after careful deliberation and consultation with his assistant coaches, concluded that the situation had become irreparable and that allowing this player to continue in a starting role would compromise not only team morale, but also the broader culture he is trying to enforce. In other words, it is being framed as a decision not merely of discipline, but of principle, signaling to the rest of the roster that certain boundaries, once crossed, will not be tolerated under any circumstances. The tone of the rumors implies that the conflict might have stemmed from more than just professional disagreements. Some insiders are hinting that personal issues may have been involved, that the player's behavior off the field or in interactions with teammates had reached a tipping point, and that the confrontation in the coach's office was merely the culmination of a pattern of discord. According to sources with close ties to the Broncos front office, Peyton is reportedly convinced that his decision, though difficult, was necessary to preserve the integrity of the team's environment. Those who have reportedly spoken with the coach say that he expressed frustration not only with the incident itself, but with what it represented, a breakdown in communication, respect, and accountability that he has worked tirelessly to cultivate since taking the helm. The message, according to insiders, was unequivocal. The player in question would not return to the starting lineup, and any expectation of reconciliation is firmly off the table. Fans and pundits alike are buzzing on social media, with speculation reaching a fever pitch. Some are applauding Peyton for his decisive approach, suggesting that a coach willing to make such a hardline move is showing leadership in its purest form. Others are questioning the timing and the impact, wondering how the team will adapt without a key contributor in the roster, and whether this decision could reverberate beyond the locker room, influencing game plans, team chemistry, and even the trajectory of the season. Sports forums are ablaze with theories, ranging from strategic disagreements on play calling to deep-seated personal animosities, and every small piece of news is dissected to try to reconstruct the incident in detail. Observers note that while controversies like this are not unprecedented in professional sports, the intensity surrounding this particular scenario seems unusually high, fueled by a combination of the player's prominence, the coach's reputation, and the dramatic nature of the confrontation itself. Adding further fuel to the fire, there are murmurs that internal communications have been unusually tight-lipped, with team spokespeople reportedly issuing only the bare minimum of public statements, perhaps to avoid inflaming the situation. Sources hint that even within the organization, conversations about the incident are conducted in hushed tones, as if everyone involved recognizes the delicate balance between transparency and control. Some analysts suggest that this silence is strategic, a way to let the drama unfold organically among fans while the organization quietly navigates the fallout behind the scenes. Others interpret it as a sign that the situation could be more complicated than initially portrayed, potentially involving legal or contractual considerations that cannot yet be disclosed publicly. Whatever the case, the lack of official clarity has only intensified speculation, and the rumor mill is operating at full speed, with each new tidbit dissected for hidden meaning, implications, and potential next moves. Inside sources also hint that this confrontation could have broader consequences for the Broncos' organizational culture. Observers note that Payton has long been known as a coach who demands discipline, accountability, and respect, but who is also willing to make calculated risks to maintain team cohesion. The alleged fallout with the starter may serve as a message to the rest of the roster, signaling that no individual, regardless of talent or reputation, is above the team's collective standards. Some insiders suggest that this could provoke a shift in locker room dynamics, either galvanizing players who respect the coach's decisiveness or creating tension among those who question whether such a drastic measure was necessary. Analysts are debating whether the fallout will spark internal reflection, additional roster changes, or even adjustments in how the coaching staff approaches leadership and player management moving forward. Rumors also indicate that rival teams are paying close attention, viewing this development as potentially advantageous. While it is too early to determine the on-field consequences, league insiders are speculating that opponents might try to capitalize on perceived instability or distraction, though others warn that such assumptions could be misleading if Payton's tough stance ends up strengthening internal resolve. There is talk that the media frenzy surrounding the incident could either exacerbate tension or, paradoxically, provide the Broncos with an opportunity to reset the narrative on their own terms, emphasizing discipline, standards, and the coach's unwavering commitment to the team's vision. Social media commentators, sports podcasts, and online forums are dissecting every nuance, from alleged body language during the confrontation to the timing of private meetings and practice sessions, turning speculation into a full-blown narrative that has captivated fans far beyond the local fan base. Despite the swirl of rumors, some voices urge caution, noting that these reports are still largely unverified and that the full context of the confrontation may never be fully disclosed. Nevertheless, the story has taken on a life of its own, fueled by the dramatic elements, the personalities involved, and the high stakes of professional football. As whispers continue to circulate, the overarching sentiment seems to be one of anticipation and curiosity. How will the Broncos respond in the coming weeks? How will this impact the player's career and relationship with the team? And, perhaps most importantly, what message does this send to the league at large about Sean Payton's approach to leadership, discipline, and the culture he is determined to build? For now, fans and analysts alike are left to speculate, discuss, and debate as the rumor mill grinds on, painting a picture of tension, drama, and decisive action that may become one of the defining stories of the season. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this, give us a like and share with other Broncos fans. And of course, make sure to subscribe to Broncos News now to stay on top of all the NFL news and analysis.